welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. This week we shall be taking a look at the US elections and how it will impact India. For that with me I have a panel of experts. We have Meera Shankar, former US ambassador. We have Mr. Jitender Kumar, a leading face of the Indo-American community. He's been working for the last 40 years behind the scenes for Indo-American relationships. And also, more interestingly, he's a close friend of both Prime Minister Vajpayee and the current Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And we have Professor Vijayalakshmi. She is professor at the US Studies at the School of International Studies at the JNU. And of course, Professor Madhav Nalapat. He is, as you know, the managing editor of the Sunday Guardian. I'll begin with you, Dr. Kumar. Since you've come from the US, what is the situation there? Are we looking at it being a Donald Trump versus a Clinton race?
And Republicans' primaries are much more complicated than Democratic primaries. Democratic, it is very straightforward, generally based on percentage or winner take all. Republican is much more complicated, and it can be manipulated also, which is being done by Trump's opponents. And Donald Trump in fact called Republican primary process as a corrupt process. But if he gets it, then a couple of things could happen. If he's the nominee and nobody else comes in, Hillary Clinton, in my opinion, will beat him easily. But Bloomberg, who has denied so far, I believe he will declare his candidacy as third party, and he would have very good chance of beating both of them. If Trump doesn't get in the first round, which I still doubt he would, then it will be open convention. That means Republican Party can elect anyone. And in that scenario, again, in my opinion, Paul Ryan, who is the House Speaker, though he has also denied that he is not seeking presidency, I think he would be the Republican candidate, and he is in a good position to beat Hillary Clinton.
Okay. Madam Ambassador, would you agree? Are you as pessimistic about Donald Trump's chances as Mr. Kumar?
Trump himself has tried to tone down his rhetoric. He's got a new campaign team, and some of the very acerbic and radical comments that he was making, we haven't heard them in the recent past, and he's also been more mild towards his opponents. But we have to see whether he crosses that threshold, because if he has that momentum to cross the threshold of the required votes, which is 1,237 all told, then I think it will be difficult for the Republican Party to stop him. And if they do, he has said he might run as an independent, so there could be a break. But if he doesn't reach that threshold, then clearly the Republican Party is not very comfortable with his candidacy and is looking for alternatives.
Professor, what is your reading of the elections as of now?
Well, as of now, both parties are seemingly, gearing up for what they see as the end of the nomination race. But I think Republicans, as has been already stated, clearly a divided house. The party itself is unable to actually put out a message, and look forward to the general election. There can be possibilities of disaffected voters just abandoning the Republicans completely to the gain of the Democrats generally, and in particular, I think the case of women would be something that I see as a move that could benefit the Democrats. In any case, most women, it's not about Hillary's candidacy alone, but I think women tend to vote more Democrats. But on the other hand, if the Trump voters and the supporters continue the way they are going, I am looking at a possible break at the Republican Party, as both of them have suggested. If the party can actually bring Paul Ryan, I don't know. It is looking to me as if it's not about just the convention, whether it's a brokered or a contested convention. It's about the party itself. The party is facing a deep crisis, and that's the first thing I think this election has shown. But I would still say that, in the Democrats' kitty, you still have a very large message to the American voter about affordable health care, for example, and minimum wage, which Madam Hillary is also apparently coming down to. The Sanders campaign is hitting out, saying that she's now flip-flopping and coming to $15, which was earlier she was saying $12. Economists don't think anything is practical, etc. But the message from the party of the Democrats, if you take the proposition that this is an election about the angry American voter, this message will probably be more soothing, and therefore you look to a post-nomination bounce for the Democratic candidate. Will that withstand the scrutiny that will happen once a general election is, the nominations are over?
We're going to go into individuals in just a while, but yeah, we've had some experience with the Clinton administration. How do you see that working for India?
Well, I'd like to say that from the very start, from the 1990s onwards, I saw Bill Clinton's administration as fundamentally hostile to India as a major power. They used to constantly think of India in the same box as Pakistan. If you recall, Clinton was unsparing in his efforts to ensure that we gave up our nuclear arsenal and thereby gave China a monopoly over nuclear weapons in Asia among the big powers. And he was unsparing to get India to sign the NPT. On Kashmir also, Clinton was unsparing in his efforts at getting India to do a compromise, which in effect will give the valley to Pakistan. So I don't see the Clinton group as being very friendly to India, and I think here a lot of Indian scholars seem to believe otherwise. I don't see on what basis they base that. I think the Clintons have really been fundamentally hostile to India emerging as a major power. George Bush has not been.
Right.
Certainly Barack Obama, now that he's freed himself of Hillary Clinton, has not been. He's quite a different president now than he was when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. You're seen in Cuba, you're seen in the case of Iran, and you're seeing the case of a much more open approach to India and high technology. In that, when Hillary Clinton was there, the words were very soothing, but the actions were not. So this is the fundamental problem, is that Hillary Clinton says all the right things and then does all the wrong things. So I'm not entirely certain. Of course, the Democratic Party, we're talking of the Republican Party fixing the nomination. Yes, the Democratic Party has also got a huge party machine that is trying to rig the nomination for Hillary Clinton. The Clintons have got a lock on that, and they've been working on that. Should that happen, I still believe that Hillary Clinton is not going to be a strong candidate. And so far as Donald Trump is concerned, look, on Libya, the man has the right idea that Libya was a disaster. These armed attacks, for example, on Iraq, on Syria, on all these matters, he has the right approach. On Russia, he is very clear the United States should not confront Russia. On China and India, he wants to work with a certain amount of conciliation, tough on trade, but on geopolitics, he's very conciliatory. So this concept of Trump as someone who's irrational, I think that's an irrational concept. It's bred by foreign policy elites who are unhappy that Trump really doesn't care for them.
Actually, I'll bring you in. Who's better for India, Trump versus Hillary?
I partially agree with Monu. As far as Trump is concerned, your analysis is correct. He sounds irrational, but he's not going to be. But Clinton, I don't agree. Things have changed. Yes, Bill Clinton, I would not say he leaned towards Pakistan, but he was less favorable to India than George Bush was. I was there when atomic explosion took place. Clinton was the president. There was a resolution drafted by the administration, which Republicans opposed, to put sanctions on India. I worked on the draft. We watered down as much as we could, but I don't agree that Clintons are hostile. It's not the question of hostile or friendly, it's the question of where the interests lie. Right now, United States interests lie with India for a long, long time. In fact, I believe their interest always lied with India. and they are no more relevant towards India. As far as the candidacy, yes, Hillary Clinton is not a strong candidate. That's why Bloomberg stands very good chance. And I give you an actual example. When American voters or anywhere, voters get angry, they'll elect anybody. Any candidate, in fact, any candidate whosoever wins, India is in a good position right now.
Do you share his optimism, and can you just analyze the Trump versus Clinton presidency for India?
Well, I would say that, I would disagree a little with Mr. Nalapat on the Clintons. Yes, I think when Robin Raphael was the Assistant Secretary of State,
They were hostile.
the balancing and the tilting towards Pakistan was apparent. But thereafter, I think when Karl Inderforth was Assistant Secretary of State, if you look at Kargil,
Yes, Bill
that
Clinton.
is the first time under the Clinton presidency when the US took a neutral position on an Indo-Pak issue.
They actually
and
worked with
actually
Nawaz
put,
Sharif.
put pressure
Pressure.
on the Pakistanis to withdraw back across the LOC. So if you look at that, that was the first time on an Indo-Pak issue that the US took a neutral position and pressurized Pakistan to withdraw its troops across the LOC. Hillary came here first as First Lady when Bill Clinton was the president, and in fact was a strong advocate when she went back for the US paying much greater attention to India than it had been in the past. Overall, she came when she was Secretary of State. She visited India twice, initiated the strategic dialogue, and was very clear that the dialogues that she wanted with India should be on par with those with China. As far as India is concerned, I would agree that India is in the fortunate position where there's a bipartisan consensus in the US that they need good relations with India. Because even though the US has strong economic ties with China, the strategic competition with China is also heating up. So when they look at the Asia Pacific, then India is an important strategic partner of the United States. So we are in the fortunate position where either Republicans or Democrats both would seek to keep the relationship with
So
India.
you agree with him on a win-win.
But
Okay, I
would
need to
say,
take
no,
a
let
break.
me-
So we need to take a short break, but we're going to come back and continue discussing a Clinton versus a possible Trump candidacy. Because as you know, the Clintons have a long association with India, but Indians also love a strong political figure who may not be politically correct. So stay with us. Welcome back to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We are taking a look at the American elections and also how they'll impact India. Professor Vijayalakshmi, before we took a break, we were discussing a possible Clinton presidency versus a Trump presidency. Which works better for us?
Well, as you know, that these countries in the days of independent leaders leading their countries towards one or the other is gone. There are so much of geopolitical strategic imperatives that you're going to really be guided by your interests. And that is the realist position and neo-realist positions as well. But the reality is, I think Hillary, just in response to Monu, I would have to disagree, because there are some of the issues that you did see, for example, her big speech in Chennai. Now that was a very strong speech from a secretary, and I think that also in another sense, the allegations that she was bought off to support the nuclear deal, a variety of allegations. If you look at her voting record, and I did look it up, and I thought it's important to figure out whether she's been, opposed to India's nuclearization, part of the emerging power paradigm. And I found that in 2006, she publicly states that she is in support of the resolution and the Senate resolution for supporting the nuclear deal with India. So contrary to claims that will be partisan claims, that will come, the scrutiny is going to be there. But I think Hillary has, from 2006 to 2011, you'll see a number of public positions that she's taken, which has been focusing on India. The fundamentals of that focus has also been on her own understanding of economic statecraft. She has put, the economics of the strategic partnership quite visibly and volubly almost all of the time. And I think that's one of the principles that will guide her presidency. And I think India and the United States are, in fact, in need of each other, economically speaking. And therefore, that's a good thing to get a president who is committed to an economic strategic partnership. Because one of our big problems and challenges was to understand whether the US-China relationship is always being privileged over US-India relationship. We have that doubt.
Yeah.
And we always keep thinking, well, they're saying all this, but tomorrow they'll have to deal with the Chinese because they're so inextricably intertwined economically, etc. Now, I think she's going to bring some change there, but I don't know about Mr. Trump.
Right.
Mr. Trump's big trump card, as I call it, was to say in the last meeting that he doesn't like to be predictable. He doesn't like to tell his positions. He would like to keep it, flip-flop deliberately, because that is part of strategic planning of a president. So I
Some strategy
don't
that.
know. So that's how
Well,
it is.
Mr. Trump is a deal maker. He's met a payroll. He's developed jobs. And if you're a deal maker, you don't give your hand early. You're more
He's playing
careful.
poker.
Coming back to the Clintons, I would like to remind everybody here, it was Bill Clinton who gave massive assistance to the Taliban. We're talking about Robin Raphael, Assistant Secretary of State. Policy is set at the White House and the National Security Council. And massive support was given to the Taliban by Bill Clinton. It was empowered to come and take over in Afghanistan. We all know what happened to that. And of course, I'm not going to go back into Kargil. The fact is, in Kargil, the Pakistan army lost. Clinton saved its face by pretending that Nawaz Sharif magnanimously agreed to withdraw the troops who were in full retreat. My personal view is that by falling into that trap, we kind of allowed the Pakistan army to tell the Pakistan people they were not defeated in Kargil, and as a consequence, they were empowered to do the coup, Musharraf's coup against Nawaz Sharif, and which the civilian government was once again beaten. So I think Bill Clinton did a favor to the military government, and let me remind you, against Asif Ali Zardari, when Zardari was the only president of Pakistan who opposed the military and who said that Kashmir is not an issue, that India and Pakistan should be in peace, and the military is talking nonsense, Hillary Clinton sided with those who opposed Zardari. She insisted on the reinstatement of that Chief Justice or whatever it's called, who was totally opposed to Zardari, and weakened Zardari. I don't know why. Maybe she thought Zardari was too similar to Bill Clinton. I don't know why she did it. But she weakened Zardari when Zardari was the one Pakistan president who was fighting the Pakistan army. My problem with Hillary Clinton, she's been extremely aggressive. In India, for example, I've seen, when she was Secretary of State, large numbers of NGOs used to come, and they were facilitated by the State Department and started investigating all kinds of things, nonsensical things, like were there mass graves in Gujarat? Now, that's rubbish. Ultimately, some of them came up with some buffalo bones, I'm told, after a lot of visits. So a large number of NGOs who were talking of India being almost a fascist state were incentivized by Hillary Clinton's State Department. And these NGOs have been active not only in India, they've been active in the Arab Spring, they've been active in Ukraine. And if you remember in Libya, a very aggressive policy of bombing the country. We know what that has led to. It's led to Al-Qaeda, led to Daesh. In Syria, she again wanted to bomb Damascus. If that had happened, I can tell you, Mr. al-Baghdadi would not be in Raqqa. He would be sitting in Damascus. So she's been consistently wrong on all the major geopolitical imperatives. She's shown aggression where she should not have shown it. And therefore, I believe a man like Bernie Sanders or a rational individual who the establishment regards as irrational like Donald Trump would be a far better bet for the American people.
Quickly, I know you are saying Donald Trump may not win, but how would he be for India?
But if Hillary wins or any candidate wins, India is in a good position because there are mutual interest. It's not United States interest in India. India's interest also lie with the United States. And but at the same time, India should not, and United States will not compromise their relationship with China either. And India should not do that also. India should keep relationship with China, good relationship with Pakistan, and Pakistan is interested in having good relations with India. Those things have gone. Yes, of course, Clinton might have saved, they were defeated. It was combination of both. And for a long time, Indian Army could not take back a couple of peaks, which happened, and Army had to retrieve. Pakistanis regret Musharraf's venture into Kargil. They regret very badly, and in fact, one I would not name, he called Musharraf as an idiot when I was there. So things have changed. And it's not going to be that my personal, that I like India, I like Pakistan, it's going to be where the interest lies.
That's what you said, there's
Yeah,
more
where the
geopolitical.
interest lies. Somehow we make things, oh, this is a anti-Pakistan, anti-China, anti-this thing. For example, recently, Barack Obama gave F-16 to Pakistan. You could consider it as a bad move, but it's not a big deal. What few F-16s can do to India? Because they had to sell. F-16s are phasing out. If I was Pakistani, I would not take F-16. I would take F-18s.
I gave India F-18s. Last word from you, we're
I would
totally out of
say,
time, so quick
you know,
summary.
on the economic side, there would be differences. Trump has articulated a protectionist rhetoric, an anti-liberalization rhetoric, where he says that the whole system has been gamed in a way in which the US has lost and its power and economic might has been diminished, and he's going to change this whole scenario. So we don't know what that means in terms of India, for India, because India is very dependent. On the foreign policy side, I would say that Trump is questioning fundamentals, and in some cases, as Mr. Nalapat said, where he has talked of Syria, he said the focus should be on ISIS. That should be our priority, not getting rid of Assad, and working with the Russians in Syria. Some of it makes sense. So we have to see whether his rhetoric is really a way of clinching the candidacy, and he becomes more mature when he's actually running a presidency.
Okay, quickly, last.
Yes. First, I know Trump, what Trump said, but he also said India is a great country, but nobody talks about it. It's not the question of how you stop outsourcing and other things. There's a broader picture. Indians are investing a lot of money in the United States. Recently, Wyoming State, which has a lot of coal mines are in bad shape in the United States. They have approached Indians. Some Indians are negotiating to buy. Isar Group has bought mines in Minnesota. So Indians are picking up the industry which is in distress there, but India needs those products here. So it's going to be bilateral relationship. And as you said, Trump is a deal maker. He is not a politician. Where the money comes from both sides, deal will be made no matter what he thinks or what anybody thinks. So deals will go forward.
Well, we shouldn't go half and half. For example, I believe in a full security relationship with the US and a full commercial relationship with China.
Okay, on that
I
we're
fully
going to
agree
end
with
now.
you. I fully agree with you.
On that note, when everybody's agreeing, let's end now. That's all for this week. Thank you for watching this edition of Roundtable. We'll see you again same time next week.